Well, it's important for everyone to go beyond high school today and in the future. It's clear that education is the key to getting a good job. The skill requirements in the economy are going up. That means that a high school education will not be able to provide the kind of standard of living for your generation, for the next generation, that it did for mine.
But of course, there's the economic reality that to get a middle-class job, it's very difficult to get one without some kind of post-secondary education, whether that's, an associate's degree, a BA, or even more.
An ever-increasing demand for higher educated workers has created a competitive environment in the United States. Unfortunately, due to the rising cost of college education, many students from low-income families are not able to access higher education. This makes it extremely difficult for low-income students to become successful under the current system. In 2016, the presidential candidates must discuss the importance of making college more accessible to low-income students in order to create better financial opportunities, decrease the wage gap, and foster educational growth throughout the United States. The rising cost of college is holding back many low-income students from pursuing higher education. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, in 2014, 20% of the population made less than $22,000 per year. This yearly income is barely enough to sustain a college education. According to the College Board, in 2014, the average college tuition in the U.S. was over $31,000 at private colleges and nearly $23,000 for public universities. Even with financial aid coming from the government, it is not always enough to put students through college.
Net price affects a family's, ability to pay and a student's ability to go to college. At one point, the Pell Grant covered almost 70% of an in-state tuition. Now it's probably closer to 30%.
What the average student paid at a public four-year increased by about 2%, and what a student actually paid at a four-year private institution rose by about 4%.
Unfortunately, due to the wage gap and income disparity, race plays a vital role in determining a student's future. While the average household income was over $50,000 in 2014, for Black people it was about $36,000 and for Hispanic people it was about $42,000. Additionally, in 2013, 36.1 million white people graduated with bachelor's degrees, while only 3.7 million Black people and 3.4 million Hispanic people did. According to sociology professors Melvin Oliver and Thomas Shapiro, a long history of economic and political disadvantages has generated enormous Black-white disparities in wealth, which in turn affect educational attainment and intergenerational mobility.
Students of color take on more to go to college. They have higher rates of borrowing. They tend to borrow more, and they have a harder time paying it back because of the wage gap.
A college education is a key factor to people's degree of success later on in their lives. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York in 2013, people with bachelor's degrees have earned 56% more than people with high school diplomas over the past 40 years. Additionally, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, people with a high school diploma or less were more likely to fall into poverty or stay in poverty.
There's clear returns to a college education in the sense of increased lifetime earnings, and it opens up so many more opportunities to continuous learning.
It's important for the things that we always talk about, such as earnings, having a more stable life, but there are so many other things associated with going to college. Better health, less likely to rely on government assistance.
Along with affecting household income, college degrees provide the credentials to ensure a middle-class career. Credential inflation in the United States is lessening the value of a high school diploma.
But we are a credentialing society in the United States. So it is important, I think, for people to get credentials.
There are many different perspectives on college accessibility.
I would favor enough financial support from the government and from universities so that young people don't have to leave with debt.
It shouldn't just be the aggregate amount of financial aid, it's the targeting of the financial aid to make sure that the folks and the students who need it most are the ones who are able to get it. It may be Oregon, where they're doing the it's free now, but it comes out of your earnings later on. Folks have proposed what we call a BOGO policy, buy one, get one free. So you pay for the first year or two, and then you'll get the next year or two free.
I'm really supportive of Hillary Clinton's New College Compact. Community college is free, and if your family income is low enough, you also get a Pell Grant.
Some Americans maintain the idea that financial aid should not be regulated by the federal government.
That the federal government should not be involved in providing this money, that we should be doing that at the state and local level.
All of these paths offer change to the current system that does not allow students to pursue their passions and grow into well-rounded adults with stable futures. But if our country cannot work toward reforming the higher education system, this change will never happen.
There's so many of my peers, and I'm sure people in the audience have stories too, where friends, maybe wanted to go in public service, and maybe they wanted to be teachers, or maybe they wanted to be nurses, but have drastically shifted their career course because they have so much student debt.
Requiring people to go into debt to access the middle class is unfair, increases inequality. Those kind of ordinary stories of people who are pursuing their passions, who are discovering their passions, you shouldn't have to go into an average of something like $29,000 now to find out, who you are and what you want to do.
Unless we develop people with an ability to continue to learn over the course of their careers, we're not doing a service to the next generation.
This fall, on the road to the White House, the presidential candidates must discuss making higher education accessible and affordable to provide the next generation with the opportunities and growth that all students deserve.